Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Social Media and Local Search, episode 109. Each week we meet here to talk about what happened last week in the world of social media and local search. Topics of interest are posted on the Social Media Fridays community on Google+. I think it's just called Social Media and Local Search now. Anyway, you can post your own topics and join us here on the panel, or just post a topic and we'll talk about it. Anyway, with us tonight we have David Rozam. David is so old that the Antiques Roadshow once gave him a valuation. He has been an SEO since Moses was a boy. He was
I get older every week, don't I?
Been a copywriter for 30 years.
I think it's something to do with associating with you, Jim. Just gets me old, it does.
Anyway, David has been a copywriter for about 2 generations, and he's been an SEO for the last 10. You can find David at writingforseo.org, or you could use his fax machine. Edwin Jong is CEO of Idas Host in the Netherlands. He's mainly an on-page SEO specialist, or at least he used to be. I don't know what he's doing now. Edwin is, or can be found at idesthost.nl. And Masataki Wasa, webmaster of wasaweb.net in the UK. He is also a Google top contributor on the AdSense help community. Find Masa at wasaweb.net. And Tim Capper is CEO of onlineownership.com. He's also a Google top contributor on the Google My Business community. Tim can be found at onlineownership.com. And William Rock is an SEO from Kansas in the USA. Have you got a website, William?
Yes, sir. WilliamRock.com.
That's right. I asked you that last week. I'm so sorry. I forgot.
Okay.
All right. All right. So we post topics of interest. Normally we only have 1 or 2, but this week we have a few. And Juchelle De Leon from the Philippines popped one in while we're still in the green room. Anyway, let's get cracking. Our first one is: how much does it cost to have an e-commerce website? Any idea? Thanks. And it's posted by Juchelle De Leon from the Philippines. Just the mention of Juchelle's name makes Tim smile.
No,
he's smiling now.
I've helped Juchelle quite a few times. She was on a Web Pro webinar with me. Anyway, well, this is like, how long's a piece of string, really? Are you going to use, for example, a London developer who's going to charge you stupid money? Or are you going to use a regional developer who will create something just as good? You know, how big's the site? What kind of design are you going to be putting into it? How much design elements? Is it going to be doing anything wrong? Is it going to be doing anything like really funky, or is it just standard? I mean, it could be endless. I would say in the UK, if I was looking at a a couple of category page, a couple of well, cheapest. I would say anywhere between £5,000 up to, I've seen e-coms from, you know, London developers agencies up to £80,000, and then go higher. So, yeah, it depends what you want to build, what the design's going to entail, how many products, how many actual categories within that. But you could get away with a fairly good one, you know, a decent size, for maybe £5,000.
Yep, that's excellent.
And then of course the platforms. Hey, wow, you know.
Yeah.
You know, Magento developers are theoretically quite abundant, but hey, some of the ones that I've come across, like I would say 7 out of 10 have no idea what they're freaking doing. Then of course you've got WordPress, you know, you've got WooCommerce, but then again that also depends on what your product is and the size of it is going to be. You know, there's big shopping. Is it big shopping? There's, I mean, it's just literally, there's tons of them. So really is that is a very big open-ended question.
Williams just said what I just said, what I was trying to say, which was Shopify. It's good if you want an off-the-shelf hosted solution. Does lots of nice SEO things, and I think your 5K is probably a little bit high for a WordPress come WooCommerce solution. Again, it depends how much you want in terms of design and other stuff, you know. But in terms of
you know, you could even go down the road of using Amazon, hey, integrating it with Amazon. So one, you're selling direct to Amazon, but two, it's also your own individual site. So you can sell direct or via Amazon. They are, if they're done properly, very, very powerful if you need to shift product like from day one. So there's loads of solutions out there.
yeah.
And the other thing about, just to add to David's comment, is with Wix or basically Shopify, you have the opportunity to kind of get the content out there and then kind of have something for the developers to kind of crunch on and say, hey, I want to do this better, but this is kind of the idea I put together.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, Giselle.
Hi.
So, we've just answered your question.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear it.
And the answer was how
What? How much does it cost? I'm sorry?
Because look, there are so many different platforms, so many variations. There's the size, the scale of the, you know, it could start from a couple of thousand all the way up to hundreds of thousands.
Okay.
You know, just,
But
you know,
Giselle's here. Do you want to clarify, Tim?
That again,
yeah,
I'm
well,
sorry.
so if you, what kind of e-commerce, what size? I mean, it's all going to vary. What platform you want to do on, what your goals are.
I understand that in creating or having an e-commerce site, it depends upon the niche of which industry or what kind of items you're selling or how big the website is. Um, Basically, the platform that I am thinking is to have the WooCommerce. That's the first thought that came to my mind. I didn't do research regarding Magento yet, but I'm going to do something about it soon.
My yes, I'm sure. Yeah, my experience with Magento is it's a nightmare. Colin, my colleague, no. Tim said something quite relevant, which is that he said that Magento developers are a bit weird, shall we say. He was a bit more pointed than that, but I'll say they can be a bit weird. There's yeah, I would say that Magento and a WordPress stroke WooCommerce setup are very, very different animals from the from the user point of view, and also from the poor SEO's point of view. Magento is a bit of a nightmare, and WooCommerce, because it's on WordPress, is like optimizing a WordPress site. So there are a lot of different angles to come to an e-commerce site from, and I think, as I said earlier, I've been pretty impressed with Shopify recently. It's been it's easy to use, and it's easy to set up, and it's easy to SEO, and there's a lot of documentation around for it. Excuse me. So I would say if you're kind of looking at the low end of things, WordPress stroke WooCommerce or Shopify would be the two places I'd go to first.
Yeah, I also found that WooCommerce, when I was utilizing it, it's not very customizable. I think you said that, David. But the design areas, you've got to have a little bit of experience with WordPress to kind of move around in it. And then the other thing is security. If you're not having security scanning third-party tools running on your WordPress, then you're also kind of risking the credit card processing issue. And but Shopify, I've been playing with. I've got a website over there that I'm playing with and just trying to see what it does with SEO, and it's actually picking up some traffic, which I was kind of shocked, but it does. And then it's also the cart is gorgeous. It's very simple, and their back-end reporting system, so your orders and everything else, transactions, and it's just the interface, the dashboard's clean.
Yeah.
The other one I'm trying right now is the shopping cart add-on with Wix to see what that compares to. So, because not everybody.
No, Wix.
I knew someone would say no when Wix was said, but I kept it down.
Yes, and there's also OS Commerce, which is quite an old project. There's PrestaShop, which is an open source thing. There's OpenCart. That's a really nice system. And what you also need to take a look at is the payments, right? Most have credit cards, but in different countries there can be different payment methods. For example, here in the Netherlands, we use Ideal. In Belgium, they use Bankcontact. There are a lot of differences, and you need to take a look if these different platforms support your payment method. For shipping, there are also a lot of plugins for shipping, and sometimes you have to write it yourself or let somebody else write it. I had a client who was selling wine, and there is a special method for sending those wines in boxes, and there wasn't a plugin, so that had to be written especially for his needs, right? And that's expensive, right? If you need to write a plugin, then that takes a lot of time and testing, etc. So then that will cost also a lot more. And then, of course, you'll have your monthly cost of hosting, your SSL, the fees for the credit cards or other payments methods, and of course your delivering fees. Here in the Netherlands, for example, you have to, if the customer isn't happy within 2 weeks of the purchase, then you have to they have to send it to you, and you have to pay the cost for shipping. So that's something to consider. So yeah, it can get quite expensive overall. But I think that those are the main costs: your shipping, your payments, hosting, SSL.
Yeah, that's a consideration. You'd probably be spending $600 or $700 US for the sort of hosting that an e-commerce site would run on. Pay for a specific IP address, and of course, as Edwin said, the certificate. These are costs which occur every year. Yeah, I mean, but if you don't get some serious hosting for an e-commerce site, I mean, you've got competitors that will try to DDoS you. You've got to do that part of it properly, and that's not cheap. So, Giselle, have we covered this adequately, or should we go further? If you've got another question, we'd love to answer it.
No, it's totally perfect. I understand what I need to check around right now. So I'm going to check the Magento WooCommerce and PrestaShop. And basically, yeah, I need to consider the payment method, the shipping, as well as how to optimize it. I'm going to work on that. And
Cool.
thank you.
You're welcome. Very well. All right, let's move on to our next question. This one, its title is "Social Media as a Whole Brilliant or the End of Mankind as We Know It?" To cover this topic, you will need to have read the article on talentzoo.com, but I'm guessing none of you guys have read it. Yep, just as I thought. Let's move on to the next one. And this one was merely an informational. More people are using Facebook than ever before. So they've just woken up that Tim Capper and I are back on Facebook. Yeah, it was a study done recently, and apparently Twitter is suffering. It's not getting the active users that it used to get, and yet Twitter seems to be firing up as far as I can see. What do you guys think?
Well, I think Twitter has a problem, right? They are slow on monetizing their platform. For some reason, the things they buy aren't really that much of a success in the long term. Who uses Periscope, right? In the beginning, it was quite large, but now I'm not seeing a lot of activity from Periscope anymore. And Facebook does that very well. For example, with Instagram, they bought Instagram for an insane amount of money, and they made it a success. So.
Okay. Any more on this one? Okay, moving right along. Let's go to our next. New filters on Instagram, and they are not for pictures. The network will soon allow users to filter their own comment streams, and if they wish, completely turn off comments on their own posts.
Well, I did check the app before the Hangout, but I'm not having the filters yet. Does anybody has the filters? Or?
No, I don't use Instagram.
Oh,
you've got to
okay.
have a lot of comments before they let you edit them. So you know, if you start photographing something a little risque rather than these bloody windmill things, you know, then you'll get loads of comments.
Any other comments on Instagram filters? Let me tweet that. It's funny, we're talking about Twitter's demise and I'm tweeting it. Okay. Here we are. What reason to use when removing a place? Localguidesconnect.com.
Yeah, I see this happening quite often in the region, where people just mark it closed. Well, it is a surface area, right? And they say, well, it's incorrect, so let's say that it is permanently closed. That's quite disturbing if you do that, because then that particular local business will be removed from maps, especially if map makers gives the thumbs up. So now Googler came out and said, please ignore it, and I think that is a good idea. Don't close local shops because they are basically in working in a service area and not a point. Was it point of interest, right?
Yeah. Anybody else? Well, we're ripping through these. Let's go to the next. Facebook takes on the battle against clickbait again. To address clickbait headlines, we previously made an update. This is a notice from Facebook, of course. To address clickbait headlines, we previously made an update to Newsfeed that reduces the distribution of posts that lead people to click and then quickly come back to the newsfeed. While this update helped, we're still seeing pages rely on clickbait headlines. Yeah, it's. I mean, I hate that clickbait. I mean, and they're just so obvious. You know, most of them are on Tim Capper's side. But clickbait. It is a pain, isn't it? I mean, there is one site that advertises on Facebook. Every time I get caught, I swear I will never go there again. You know the one I mean, the one that you get there and it wants you to click to the next page, and it's got an AdSense ad right where you should click. So if you're not careful, you'll click the AdSense ad. You know the one I mean? Nobody knows. No.
Yeah, with the images, right?
Yeah,
or
it's
not.
got 10 things, or you know. Anyway, don't worry. It's just an old man rambling. All right. How is Facebook's new algorithm working?
Well, I don't know actually. I think last week I clicked on a clickbait, which was in the ads zone, so they were paying for ads. Let's see. Let's go to the news sheet.
I don't use Facebook very much, so I haven't really noticed it. Yes, I'm on it all the time, but I hear you, Jim, with clicking on a website, and all of a sudden you got, the page 1, page 2, page 3 for the clicks for AdWords or whatever ad system they're using, or even the pop-ups of the banners, or apply to my email newsletter, and every page pops up a little new window.
Okay, let me tweet that and we'll move on. Stories in Instagram, a copycat from Snapchat. What can you tell me about this, Edwin?
Well, this is new. Instagram now has stories. I haven't played with it. But yeah, it's quite nice. The stories of the people you follow are on top. And on the left side, on the left side, there is a plus icon where you can add your own story. I don't know.
Is there a future for Instagram, and is there a future for Pinterest?
Yeah, I think
all
so.
the rage? Mm-hmm.
And a nice thing about this blog article from Instagram is that they say, share more, please.
Well, the user count is pretty high on Instagram, and then you've got Pinterest, and it depends on your market. What are you actually doing? If it's personal, then it's different. But if it's business, other businesses are using that. Like Pinterest is huge for selling clothing or knickknacks or especially food items. Right? I think Instagram the same way with food items.
Yeah, Instagram is a lot of food. And Pinterest is also nice for furniture makers, right?
Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of niches that depends on what you're in. If you're selling microchips or something like that, it's probably not going to work for you.
Oh, I'm sure Intel is on.
Well, maybe. I'm sure corporate, yeah. I mean, but you see the other manufacturers out there, they're probably not going to be out there just because they don't need to have that branding in every spot.
No.
But I don't know about the engagement Intel would be getting from Instagram. Who knows? They could. I would imagine Intel probably got a good following count, an engagement count.
Yeah. But for restaurants, cafes, bars, you really need to be on Instagram. That's where your customers are, right?
I found something that I think is interesting here. I don't know if you've tapped on the new button in the Instagram the Instagram app. What comes up looks as near as damn it to Snapchat. So they are unashamedly aiming at Snapchat users by the look of it.
Yeah, it's quite similar to Snapchat. Yeah.
With the little Batman type speed things on it and stuff. Showing off his age, as usual. But I know I'm okay. Jim's here. I will never look old in his company.
All right. So,
maybe. Maybe.
Go on, David.
Sorry.
No,
I said maybe.
No, go ahead, David.
Oh, okay. On the theme of old people, it occurs to me that Instagram stories might be Snapchat for old people, because Snapchat is very much pitched at those who understand the memes there, and frankly, I haven't had much of a go at Snapchat because I don't know anyone on it.
You need to be a teenager, David.
Well, I like to imagine I'm a teenager, but, you know, people keep telling me I'm not.
When you swap a photo, they'll probably realise.
Okay.
Yeah. No, but I mean, isn't Snapchat very popular with the teenage set? Edwin Yonk's on it.
Well, that's because he's looking for teenagers. I didn't say that.
Aren't they busy trying to catch all the Pokemons? Or?
All right, let's move on. I'll try to tweet this, and it'll tell me I'm wrong. Oh no, I've tweeted it. Okay. All right. Oops, it's that time again. Any other items of general business, guys? Well, I'd like to thank the people that were watching us tonight, and will watch us later on. We thank you for your interest. Your interest in what we do makes what we do worthwhile. We'll be back at the same time next week to do this all again, but for now, it's good night.